Today we are going to discuss about the for each and parallel for each, right? So then let's see how it will work. So then if you want, I can explain with this simple example also. Otherwise, I can explain with the real-time example also. So
First explain with the simple example.
okay then. Okay, first I'll explain with the simple example. So for that, first of all, I'll take one kind of a file example. So in this, especially, I'll take the write operation. Okay, you know, right? How the write operation will work. So here we can write our data into the file. Okay, otherwise I'll create a new application. I'll create a new application, kind of a for each. For each example. Okay, so in this for each example, first I'll take the HTTP listener, and after that I'll take one set payload, and I'll take one more logger. I want to take logger. Otherwise I will take one more file connector. So file write operation I'll take. Otherwise within the simple logger also I can explain you. So then once you understand the concept, then you can relate how we can do that. Okay. So first of all, let me configure HTTP listener and take one path. So here, let me send my payload from the postman. So that's better, I think. My MIME type is like, if you take application by JSON, that is fine. Anyway, I'll take application by JSON. Okay, encoding is not required, then I'll take the encoding as well. Can take any kind of encoding. I'll take this. So here I want to print the payload. Okay, I want to print the payload. Let's see how it will print. Okay. So for example, I want to print the payload. It is the final logger. So let me deploy this application. Just I have a simple example, so then I'll show you. So just I want to perform some, just I want to execute in a simple way. Let's see. I'll take the JSON format, take array, and inside array I'll send some names. Okay. So Niranjan, comma, and the other names Sai. So in this way, I'll send some names. Okay. These are all the names, right? So just I'm sending these names. Now you are getting the response in a same format. Whichever I'm sending, I'm getting in a same format. And even though I want to write these details into the file also. Okay, I want to write this same details into the file also. So there is nothing actually, right? There is no thing actually. So whatever I'm sending, same thing I'm getting back as a response, right? Now I'm writing into the file same data, but before writing, I need to perform each and every value. I need to perform some operation. So in that scenario, what I have to do? First, I need to take this list of payload and I need to iterate individual objects. Okay, individual payloads I need to iterate. Individual values I need to iterate. How can we iterate? So let's see that. First of all, I want to use before, okay, before placing file write operation, first let me check how the for each will work. So then after that we'll place the file component. Okay, so I'll keep one logger and I'll wrap in this for each. Okay, so this logger I'll give like inside for each. Inside for each, I want to see how this will work. So just I want to print the payload. Inside for each, I want to print the payload. Let's see how it will work. Okay, otherwise for your better understanding, I'll run this application in a debug mode. So then you can understand. And even this is the start logger also I want to print. The start logger. The start logger also I want to print the payload. Okay, let me run this example and let me remove this. Set payload is not required this time. I want to show you like before for each how the data and after the for each how the data will process, we can see. Okay, let's see that. I'll run in a debug mode. I'll add the debug point here. First you have to understand the mechanism. So after that we'll apply to real-time scenario. So then you can better understand. You just click on S button. Then it will run in a debug mode. Okay, I think it is deployed successfully. Now I want to execute this. Okay, first I'm sending this list of names, right? How this will process inside for each, just observe. Okay, here even you can see the logs also. So this is the start logger. In the start logger it is printing payload as it is. Okay, and it is going inside for each, it is printing logger. Now you can see inside for each it is printing first name. Payload, right? Here I'm giving as a payload it is printing as a name. And second time it is coming back to the for each, it is printing second name, third name, fourth name. After that it is coming out of from the for each. So after for each, what is the response? I can see whatever I'm sending from the input, same response I can see. Okay, so here now I can split the payload. Okay, so I'm sending list of payloads. From this payload I'm like by using for each and every value I'm iterating separately as a separate payload. I'm iterating. So this Niranjan I'm iterating as a separate payload, and this I am separate payload. This Shiva also I'm like splitting as a separate payload. So after the for each, we are getting normal response. Whatever we have as like payload previously for each, that response we are getting. So this time I want to do one thing. I want to create a object wise this payload. I want to create a object wise and I want to include a one kind of a key. Okay, so how can I do that? So for each and every value I want to do that. How can I do that? Actually, as a payload we are getting this Niranjan, right? So just here I'm modifying that payload, okay, as a JSON format. Let's see, I want to add one more key, is called name. Okay, colon. So here every time I want to assign the value, right? So for that I'll use directly payload. So payload means first time this payload, second time this payload, third time this payload, fourth time this payload. Okay, in this way you can rearrange your data even if you want to save. Okay, kind of a idea also save. How can I get the ID? So here you can see counter, right? So this is the counter variable. By using this counter variable also we can get the ID. So I'll show you how many times it will iterate. Each time it will print the counter value here. Vars dot counter. Let's see. So in the for each, if you open the for each, you can see the options: collection, counter variable name, batch size, root message. Okay, these all things you can see. Let's see what is the root counter variable. Counter variable means, so here you can see, list of values, right? Like 1 2 3 4, 4 values you have. So it will counter how many times it will counter. 4 times it will counter, right? So every time it will give the counter value. First time it will give the first value, and second value, third value, like that it will give the counter how many times it will encounter this list of values. Okay, so then let's see how it will work. Counter comma, this is the payload ID, you can consider as a counter. Let's see. Just I want to create a objects wise. From here I'm sending as a values. Internally I'm modifying this as a objects. Let's see. I want to send this record is coming here inside. Let's see. So here you can see only values, these values inside. Here I'm creating that, here I'm modifying the data. Now you can see. So inside for each it is printing ID equal to 1, name, nothing but first time, first value. Okay, first counter happened, so that's why it is printing ID equal name. So next counter happened, so now you can see this is the next value. So previously it is giving only values, but here now I am creating as a objects, right? So third time it is counted Shiva, it is giving. Fourth time it is counted Sagar. Finally it is printing final logger, right? So what is the response of final logger? Here you can see final logger. Same, whatever you are sending input, same thing you are getting as a response. Even from the browser also, you are sending this one, you are getting the response. But internally, by using for each, it is modified. Okay. Now here you can observe one drawback. What is that? So you are sending the data and you are getting the same data. Then what is the use of this? Internally you are modifying the data, but you cannot get the modifying data, right? So this is the one drawback you can see. To get the modifying data, how you can get the modifying data? So there is a one way actually. So what is that way? First, you have to store all this modified data into a one variable, and you have to call that variable outside of this for each. How it is possible? Let's see. Okay, for that, first I will take a one kind of a variable, set variable. I can take set variable. Set variable I can take. In this set variable, I'll take one empty array. Okay, this is the empty array. Two square braces, empty array, and here I can give some kind of a result. Because I want to store all these objects, each and every time it will create an object, right? This all object I want to store this empty array. So for that I'm creating one empty array. That empty array I'll call here. Okay, that empty array I'll call inside transform message. Okay, inside for each I'll call that variable. How can I call the variable? So here you can see vars dot results. This is the variable I'm calling. Okay, and next I'll use the plus symbol, and every time I'll get the payload, right? So modified payload I'll get, right? So this payload I'll add here. Payload. Again I'm assigning all this variable to the same variable. Okay, just remember this concept. How can I modify this payload as a variable? Just click on this edit, current edit, and go to variable section. Give this same variable name. Whatever you are getting the empty array, same variable name you have to give here. So every time it will assign to the same array. That's why. Okay. So first it will capture the payload. It will add to the variable. Variable means here you can see empty array. So it is assigning your payload to the empty array, and whole things it will save into this one variable. Finally, we will call this variable here. Okay, how you can call this variable? I'll show you by using transform message. By using transform message, you will call this variable. You will call. So every time you are looping, right? You are storing all this data and finally into this variable. So you will call this variable here. Just will call vars dot result, and in a JSON format we will give. Now you can understand. I'm converting this variable data into a payload. So that payload will return to the browser. Let's see will it work or not. Okay, I think here I'm not sure. Need to use plus or plus plus. Let's see if it is not, if it will not work, then we'll see. Okay, so this thing we can see. Yeah, first I'm sending the request. The request will come here. So then here it is creating an empty array. Here you can see result variable. It is creating one empty array, right? So this empty array, here you can see for each log, inside log you can see object is printing. This object we need to assign to this variable. Will it possible or not? Yeah, it is giving error. Understood. Okay. So this variable we should not give like this. Should give like this. Okay, we need to enable the fx. Okay, then only it will take consider as a, otherwise it will consider as a string. This variable it will consider as a string. That's why. Let's see this time. I'm saving it. It is read applied. Let me retry. Sending the data, creating the array. So let's see this time how it will create. Yeah, now we can see proper array. Okay, you should create array in this format. Proper array. You have to enable the fx and you have to give this array. And next is coming here. So already you can see my all values are printed here. These are the input data. And here I'm creating the object. Now you can see this object is created. This object I want to add to this array. How can I add? Click on. Now you can see it is added. Okay, so you can see how is it added or not. In a final stage you can see. At this moment you cannot see. You can check the like result. So as of now you can see the result. My first object add to this array. Okay, result variable you can see. So again logger, again it is adding second object also to the same array. Now you can see my payload. I'm checking the variable, result variable. Now you can see in the result variable it is added two objects, first object, second object it is added. So if you triggered, so then third time it will show the third also. Now third value is processing. So third object printed, even you can see third object 3 Shiva. This third object will add into this result object, result list. Okay, so where is this? You can see size is 3, nothing but 3 objects are stored in the result variable. You can see 3 objects are stored. So finally fourth object also stored. So it is come out. So once it is come out from the for each, you are calling this variable result variable. Why? Because already all my data stored into the result variable, right? All the 4 objects. I'm calling this variable outside of the for each. Now I'm assigning to the payload, right? I'm assigning to the payload here. So then if I click on F6 in the final logger, now you can see. Okay, I'll show you. In the final logger, you can see all the 4 details. Let me open in a normal mode, so then you can clearly observe. Expand this console. Okay, just you can observe clearly. First time it is taking the input like this. After that, every input value we are assigning one ID by using counter variable, and name key we are assigning. So this is the value from the list, from this list. Okay, from this list we are taking this value. And next we are assigning one more counter variable, and we are assigning every time we are creating objects. Actually, by using these values we are creating objects. After creating these 4 objects, what we are doing, we are assigning all these 4 objects to the empty array. First I took empty array, into that empty array every time I'm adding objects. Finally I'm getting response like this. Now you can see, so I'm sending these values, but I'm getting these values. Okay, even if you change this name also, your response will be same, but change. Okay, so here you can see Ram, Ravi, anything you can use. So here also it will change. How it is possible? So here by using for each we have processed like in the list of list of names, it will process value by value. It will process, finally it will process to the all the like consolidate data it will process. So in real time, how we can utilize this scenario? For example, just assume this is the list of records coming from the DB, right? So you can understand like you are getting multiple records coming from the DB, and you want to process. For example, otherwise you can take one more example also. Here you are getting the data from the postman like this or something. Okay, I want to insert into all these details into the DB record by record. How it is possible? First of all, I want to split from all this object. I want to split first object. I want to insert first object. So after that, I want to take the second object. I want to insert to the second record. So nothing but while processing the DB also, if you want to process your records record by record, then you can use the for each. Okay. So here it will process. For example, if you take the 10 records from the postman, if you want to insert record by record, you can use the for each. So by using by inserting record by record, what is the advantage? You can see you can perform operations on each record. You can modify each record and you can insert into the DB. You can modify each record and you can insert into the DB. Where you can modify each record, inside for each you can modify. So you will send multiple records from the postman. So here you'll not do any changes. Inside for each, you will take one by one record and you will modify the data. In that way you can assume. Okay. So in this way the for each will work. So how the consolidate all the for each result means in this way. By default for each, inside for each the result will not propagate to the outside of the for each. Okay, so if anyone ask interview also, they will ask like after the for each what is the payload you will get, like inside for each resultant payload you will get, or which payload you will get, they will ask in this way. So then you have to tell, so whatever we are doing consolidation inside payload, that we will not get outside of the for each. Whatever you are sending before for each payload, that payload only will get as a response of the, means after the for each we will get the same payload whatever we are sending to the input payload. That in that way you have to tell. So then they will ask like how you can consolidate all the for each, how you can merge all these payloads into a list, and how you can send out of the for each. So then you have to tell this procedure. So first we'll create one empty array and we'll add all the results objects into that array, and we'll create a one variable and we'll send this variable outside of the for each. So in that way we can send all our consolidated response to the browser in the for each. Okay, especially this is the very typical part. Okay, so if you are explaining the same scenario by using some database, then you can understand okay how it will process and everything. Same scenario if I take with some kind of objects. For example, if I take any table, let me take any kind of table, so then I can explain you. So in the same way, if you are using parallel for each, what will happen? Parallel for each. So here you can see, we'll see parallel for each, how this parallel for each will work in the same scenario. So parallel for each, I'll try. Let's see parallel for each, how the parallel for each will. Okay, I'm sending the data. I'm sending Ram, Ravi, all this data, right? New data I'm sending. So parallel for each means, so it will not process record by record. Okay, it will not process record by record. Just assume this is the one record, this is the one record, this is the one record, this is the one record. So just, you can assume anything actually. It is coming from DB or it is coming from anywhere. So if you want to process record by record, you can go with the for each. But if you want to process all the records at a time parallelly, then you can go with the parallel for each. So here, what is the main advantage means here the time will save actually. Why? Because so if you take 10 records by using for each, first record it will process, it will take 1 second. Second record, then it will process, it will take 2 seconds. Third record, it will process 3 seconds. Like that, 10 seconds it will take. But if you are using parallel for each, within 1 seconds only 10 threads will create. 10 threads will execute parallelly. So nothing but 10 records also you can execute within a 1 second. Okay, by using parallel for each, we can execute our records parallelly so that we can save the time, we can increase the performance. Okay, so here you can see I'm going to the parallel for each. So here you can see, so all this data I'm sending. So here you can see 4 times it is nothing but 4 threads are going parallelly, that's why. So here also you can see 4 loggers are print parallelly. Okay, and every time it will include into the object. So finally it is consolidating, it is giving the result. Now you can see empty array it is giving. Why it is giving empty array? It is not consolidating properly. Okay, that's why. So there is some other way to consolidate in the parallel for each. So why? Because all threads are going parallel, right? So if you are going one by one, so then it will add one by one actually. So these all are going parallelly. So that's why finally it is giving empty only. So I think in a different way we need to match. I'm not sure how we can match. So most of the time in real-time industry also this parallel for each will not use actually. So most of the time we'll use the for each only. Why? Because of like instead of this parallel for each we can use the batch processing also. There is a many advantages we can see compare with the parallel for each. Okay, there is a many advantages. So that's why whether you can go with the parallel for each, otherwise you can go with the batch processing. So like rarely they will use this parallel for each. I never seen like anywhere in my projects also in my previous. So rarely they will use this parallel for each. Why? Because here one more main drawback is like it will create a multiple threads. For example, I have explained with the 10 records, right? That is fine. If I explain with the 100 records, then what will happen? 100 threads needs to create, right? So then this performance will decrease. So that's why they will go with the batch processing. Batch processing means, for example, if you are processing 100 records, we can split into batches actually. Like for example, if you keep the batch count is 10, so then it will create a 10 batches, 10 into 10, 100. For example, if you keep a batch size is 20, so then it will create a 5 batches, 5 into 20, 100. In that way the batches will create, it will process the batches asynchronously. So we can process huge amount of data, large amount of data by using the batch processing. Okay, record by record when we use, if you want to perform like if you want to process record by record and if you want to perform operations on the record by record, then we can go with the this for each. Okay, if you want to execute all the threads at a time, parallel for each you can use. If you want to execute in a batches wise, you can go with the batch processing. Okay, so let's see some kind of a real-time scenario example so then you can understand. Now you understand, right, how this will work. So here you can see some of the advantages, some of the disadvantages also in each and every component. For example, in a for each, what is the best part you can see? You can process record by record. That is the best part. So if our client is asking for, like, you need to process record by record. For example, if you take, if like we are taking, as of now we are taking only database, right? Database will allow multiple records anyway, that is fine. But sometimes we'll use some kind of a web services, SOAP web services. SOAP web service, always it will take a one single request. So in that scenario, my from my source system is sending multiple records, but my target system is expecting at a time only one record. So in that scenario, for each is the best option. Okay, for each is the best option. Just give me 1 second, guys. Come back. Yes, like I will see the same with the example. So I'll take already, if any example is there, take that example as well. For example, let me stop this and I'll show you with the example, real-time example. I'll take one database example and I'll show you how it will work. First of all, if you take insert operation by using database, you are doing at a time, we can do in insert only one record, right? You can do at a time one record you can insert. So let me run this example in a debug mode. I'll add the breakpoint. So what details you can send? You can send this, all these details: customer ID, customer name, city, email, mobile. Okay, mobile one is there. For the error, I think I have raised. Once it is deployed, I'll remove that mobile one card. Once it is deployed, then I'll change. Okay, so now you can see. So I'm processing this data. So first time I'll process, sending the multiple values we have, product data I have, and ticket, write, delete customer, insert customer. Okay, so here you can see customer ID, customer name, email, mobile. So here I have multiple data. Okay, I'm trying to insert this multiple data to this DB, but here my DB is accepting only single record. So then what will happen in that scenario? Let's see what will happen. What it is? Yeah, test data applying. Okay, it is redeployed. Now I'm trying to send this multiple records to the DB. What will happen? It will fail actually. Why? Okay, still it is clear. Yeah, now it is clear. Now I'm sending multiple records. I'm sending at least, okay, 911, 912, and 913, 914, 915. In this way I want to send the records. Let's see how it will work. What happened? Not insert customer, add customer. This is the wrong. Okay, add customer I'll use. I'm sending the request. Let's see. So first of all, so here you can see I'm sending all the records at a time. But here my database is expecting only one record at a time. Let's see, it will fail. Okay, it will fail. Why it is failing? Sorry, I'll try to send mobile number properly. Okay, let's see. I will send. Why multiple places I have paused properly only, right? Query execution, customer ID, something. Customer ID, what I am sending? This is the customer ID I'm sending, and this is the customer ID. Customer ID I'm sending. Yeah, here you can see. Okay, yeah, that's correct actually. Why? Because I'm sending all this object, right? So that's why it is not inserting. It is accepting only single value, integer, but it is sending multiple values as a array list. So that's why it is throwing error. Okay, so that is the issue you are facing, right? So how you can overcome this issue? So I'm sending multiple records, but it is expecting only single record. So how you can split all these records into each and every time I need to process only one record. How can I process? Simply, I can use the for each, I can process. Wrap in for each. That's it. Okay. Now I can process my data. Okay. I can process my data. Okay. So let's see now it will execute properly. So it will come here first. Okay, up to here you can see all the records. Up to here payload you can see all the records, 4 records, right? Inside for each it will process record by record. First it will process first record, second record, third record, fourth record. So then it will come out. So now you can see it is processed all the data to the DB, inserted successfully. So even if you want to check also you can check. Okay, how you can check? Directly you can go to the here database and you can check what is our DB. Here you can check the DB name, latest DB I think. Yeah, so first of all I'll use this latest DB, use latest DB, enter. and select star from customers. So recently I have inserted these values, right? So 911, 9129. So this insert will work actually. If you are using for each, then it will process record by record. If you are not using insert, sorry, if you are not using for each, then it will throw the error. Like your customer ID is expecting integer, but you are sending list. Like that, it will send error. So this scenario, here you can see response I am getting customer added successfully. Is it correct? Actually, I am adding multiple customer, but I am getting only one response. So for each customer, I want to get the separate response. How can I get? I want to get the separate response. Like this customer, I want to know like how many customers are added successfully. I want to know that thing also. How can I do that? So let's see that one also. For that, same strategy, whatever we are using previously, same strategy we are using here also. Okay. So let's see same strategy for each example, right? This is the for each example. Previously I have created same strategy. I will use here also. I'll copy this variable. I'll paste here directly. I'll paste. It will come always last, so you can keep here. Okay. So I'm creating empty array here. Same here. I'll go to here and I'll copy this pair. Transform message also I can keep inside database. Okay. So before that, I want to modify some data, right? I want to modify some data. After getting the response also, once I got this successfully, so first of all, I want to take the customer ID. So nothing but here I can take. I'll do one thing. Here after the database, I think we'll get a different one. We'll get a different one. So that's why I'll do one thing. Okay, try to understand, guys. This one, I'll create a one set variable. Set variable I'll create. In this set variable, I want to capture the customer ID separately. Payload dot. Why? Because after this database, we'll not get this payload. Okay, we'll get the response payload. From the response payload, I cannot capture the customer ID. That's why. Okay, that's why. So I'll create a one separate variable before insert. I'm calling that variable here. Okay. So customer ID colon vars dot customer ID JSON. I want to create the responses, multiple responses. I want to create different response. Comma status. I want to status. Customer inserted. Inserted successfully. Otherwise, success simply I can take the success. Success. I want to take the success. Okay. Let's see. I'll consolidate all this payload into the variable and I'll call the variable. So here I don't want to write this static message. Simply I'll call the vars.result. Let's see now how this will work. Okay, try to understand, guys. Okay, don't confuse. So if I'm increasing the flow also, you should not confuse. Already we have discussed all these things in a previous example, right? Simply I'm including in the real-time scenario. So then you can understand. So previously just I'm modifying the payload and I'm printing the payload only. But here I'm inserting the data and after that response I'm arranging manually. Okay, I'm arranging manually like customer ID I'm capturing for each payload. I'm capturing customer payload. I want to give the status whether it is success or failure. Okay, let's see. I'm sending the request. Now you can see F6 F6. So here we are arranging the payload and we are assigning to the variable. Finally we'll get the, it will come out from the for each, we'll get the response. Now you can see 911, 912, 913, 914, like everything is successed. Here you can see everything I have captured and it is, I'm showing as a success. Customer IDs. If I'm sending any other, another customer IDs also, I can show you like success. So for example, if I'm sending anything wrong, what will happen? I'll show you. Okay. So for example, instead of mobile number, if I'm giving any wrong value, something name I'm giving. Okay. By mistake, I'm giving Niranjan name. So not for this, I want to give for third value. Okay. Want to give for not, I'll change this IDs also. 811, 812. For 813, I'll give some wrong value. Okay, 813, I'll give some wrong value. Wrong value means instead of mobile number, I'm giving some name. So then what will happen here? So third value will fail, right? 813 will fail. So then here we have 814, 815, all the values we have. 815. So let me try this example. I have error in a 813 record. So what will happen? So instead of mobile number, I'm sending some my name. So here I have error. So first time you can see it is going 81. Even you can check the variables also every time. Otherwise, here you can check variable 811 variable, right? So again it is coming back. So here you can see 812. Okay, 812 is processing. So 812 also fine. But 813 I have error, right? So it will not insert. Now you can see error throwing. So here you can see incorrect integer value Niranjan. Something you are sending Niranjan for mobile. So it is showing all the error here. So nothing but it will not process remaining records. Okay, it will stopping. It is stopping. Now you can see 814, 815 will not processed. Even in the database also you can check 8111, 8222 is processed. 813 is not processed. Why? Because 813 record have error. If you got error record in 813, 814, 815 also not processed. That is the drawback of for each, you can say. For example, if I want to, if I have 10 records, I'm processing 10 records to the target system. If I'm getting error in a third record, or sorry, okay, if I'm getting error in a third record, what will happen in the for each scenario? It will process only 2 records. Remaining 8 records it will fail in the for each by default. Okay, even though you can skip this condition also. Okay, even though you can skip this condition also by applying the error handling mechanism. So how you can apply? So simply you can drag in this, like you can drag this database inside for each, and here you can apply the error handling. So in the, not for each, sorry, in the try catch, how you can apply the error handling? By using try catch, right? Simply you can apply the try catch. So here you can use kind of a wrap in try catch. In the catch block you can use the on error continue. Okay, don't forget, don't use on error propagative. If you use on error propagative, like it will work as a default, like however it is working without try catch, same way it will work in a error handling mode also. So if you apply on error propagator, but if you drag on error continue, okay, I'll go to the design mode, so then I'll design here. Okay, so on error continue, if I use on error continue, it will skip that particular error record, it will continue with the remaining records. Okay, let's see that thing also. So here I'm using on error continue. Here I'm setting one transfer message. So whichever I want to set, I can set here. Okay, same thing. Here I have written, right? So here status failed. failed I'm setting. Now let's see how it will work. Okay, so this time I have error record in a third, right? So it will read apply. Meanwhile, I can change the customer IDs. So for our better understanding, 711, 712, 713. I have error record in 713, 714, and 715. These 5 records I am processing. So my application got redeployed. So I'm sending the request. Now you can see clearly. Okay, it is running in a debug mode. Here you can see. Okay, so I'm clicking on F6. So now first variable it is going to the database, and now it is processed successfully. Here you can see what data. So what response we are getting here? 7111 success. Now it is taking second record. So even you can see second record it is taking 712, but mobile number is fine. So it is processed, and successfully. So here you can see now I'm getting third record. Here I'm have mobile number is some string value. So then the string value will not insert into the DB, right? So it will raise the error. So then immediately it will not skip the remaining records. It will go to the error handling part. It will continue. You can see continue. So how it is continuing? Customer ID failed. With this failed message, it is continuing. So it is taking fourth record now. You can see 714 it is taking. So I'm able to insert fourth record, and same way I'm able to insert fifth record. So I'll consolidate all the response. So finally in the postman you can see the response is like this. 711 is success, 712 is success, 713, where is the failure? No, right? Okay. So here, okay. So then here you should keep this inside try catch, so then it will work. Okay, so that's the problem. Here you can see you can paste, you can keep this inside. When it is success, inside payload will go and it will adding to the array. When it will fail, it will come to the failure scenario, it will attach this payload and it will add to the array. Okay, so that way it will work. Let's see. I think so same thing I'll execute one more time. Let's see, this time you will get proper details. So first time it will go to the DB, it will insert, it will arrange the success message, and it is going to the second record, it is arranging success message. Third record it will fail, it will go to the continue, it is arranging the failure payload and add to the array. Fifth record success, sorry, fourth record success, fifth record also success. Let's see the response. 711 success, 712 success, 713. Why it is again successful always? Failed, right? Failed. This should come fail. Why it is not coming here? So if it is success, then it will go to here, then it is assign. Yeah, obviously 100% it will assign. It's failed, right? What we can do here? Are we doing anything wrong? No, right? I think it's fine. Wrong. I'll check in a normal mode. Okay, let me do one thing. Should not happen anyway. So it is okay. I'll create a variable here. Okay, I don't want to create a payload here. Just I want to create it as a variable. Okay, so variable is like response. Let me check this way also. I'll create the variable here also. I'll create the same variable. Variable I think will work properly. Okay, here I'll create variable. Here also I'll create variable. Same variable I'll create response variable. Response variable. That variable I'll call here. Start response. I'm converting as a payload. That payload I'll process. Will it work now? Let's see. I'm saving this. Why it is directly coming out? It is creating error, success, again fifth record also success coming out. Let's see. Yeah, now you could see proper response, right? So 711 success, 712 success, 713 failed, 714 success, 715 success. Now you can understand like how many records got inserted. For example, if I want to send another series like 6 series, so then you can understand very well. 611, 612, 613, 614, 615. Sending, I'll execute. So here you can see first 611 success, 612 success, 613 fail. It is setting some failed message. 614 success, 615 success, and coming out giving the response. Now you can see 611 success, 612 success, 613 failed, 614 success, 615 success, right? Even in the here also you can check. Select star from customers. Here you can see 611, 612, 613 is not inserted. 614, 615. Okay. Sometimes they may ask this question also, like in the for each, if I have some error record, how can I skip that error records? By using try catch, and we can use the error continue. In the continue, we can skip that error record and we can continue with the remaining records. In that way, we can explain. Okay. This is about overall for each scenarios. So I hope I have covered all of the scenarios in the for each. For the parallel for each and batch processing, I'll share the videos. You can go through that videos. That's it, guys. That's it for today. Thank you.